Hey, what's up guys? Dylan Johnson from Soccer Mag here. I'm back again to finish off Gameweek 21's predictions. Last weekend was okay, it was only 5 games. I got 3 out of 5 correct for last weekend, but I'll get into more detail about that next week once the round's completely finished. This week again, I'm going to continue trying with the betting, trying and seeing how the odds go. I've got a couple things here from Betway and Sporting Bet about the game this weekend. But once again, I must reiterate, I'm very new to this. So if what I say doesn't make sense, let me know. I'm just going to look at what I think is good and, just let you guys know about it. Getting into it, the first game of the weekend is Arsenal versus Crystal Palace. And the odds on this game, I don't know how I feel about them. It's on Betway, 9.8 in Crystal Palace's favour for an away win, 1.31 for Arsenal for an Arsenal win. And on Sporting Bet, it's pretty similar. It's 10 for a Crystal Palace win, and I think it's 1.31 as well for an Arsenal win. 5.4 for a draw. I don't know. I look at this and Arsenal obviously clear favourites for a reason. I know that in the past month to 5 weeks, they haven't been firing at 100%. They have been creating a lot of chances but not scoring goals. I think their last 2 games were a loss to Fulham 2-1 in the Prem, and then against Liverpool in the FA Cup, I think it was the 4th round, they lost 2-0 to Liverpool at the Emirates. Liverpool had a bit of a weakened team. They were missing quite a few players. But in that performance, both performances you could say, dominant at times, created a lot of chances, but just did not have the end product. This weekend, though, I feel been a bit of a break. I just have a feeling Arsenal are going to come out the blocks this weekend. Palace haven't been amazing over the past couple of weeks. I know that they have gotten a couple of good results recently, but 1.31 for Arsenal, I think, compared to 10, that's for a reason. I don't think it's similar to last week. It was 5 for Fulham, and then I think it was 1.8 or 1.9 for Chelsea. Arsenal are clear favourites here for a reason. They are the better team. And I just think this weekend, they've had a bit of a break. They could have worked on it in training. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they went away on a training camp. So I think they're going to be very ready for this weekend. Mentally, they're rested. I'm going to go for a 3-1 Arsenal win here at home at the Emirates. They're very good, especially in the Premier League. So that's what I'm going with. Going into the next game, we have Brentford versus Nottingham Forest at Brentford. I think this could be a pretty interesting one. It's Ivan Toney's first game back after 8-month suspension for betting violations. He will definitely be driven. I think he's been talking a lot in the media about how excited he is for his comeback. He's been working hard behind the scenes. I think he's interested in sending a message. He has come out and said that he's interested in a move to a bigger club, and Arsenal have reportedly been interested in him, but personally, I don't see him moving this transfer window. I think Brentford know he's their prized asset. They'll wait until the end of the transfer window. They can't replace him now. And I think he will definitely, I could see him scoring 10 goals in the last 18 games of the season quite easily. In the last round, Brentford lost 3-1 to Crystal Palace away from home. So they haven't been, I would say Brentford this season have been quite inconsistent. At times they look very good. They are capable of beating anyone, but they're also very capable of losing to teams they should beat. 3-1 to Crystal Palace. I don't think Crystal Palace are a noticeably better team than Brentford this season. Nottingham Forest, in the last round they got a 2-1 win against Manchester United. And that game, I thought United weren't bad that game, but Forest got 2 pretty good goals. Morgan Gibbs-White, I think, got the winner, which was quite a screamer. The odds for this game on Betway, 3.9 for Nottingham Forest away win, 1.93 for a Brentford home win, and 3.65 for a draw. Going back to the odds of the game, a draw for 3.65 I think is a pretty good offer, because Nottingham Forest, I don't believe they'll win this game. Like I said, they haven't been good away from home. But Brentford, the inconsistency, despite Ivan Toney being back, I don't think Nottingham Forest is an easy win. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, 3.65 for a draw, 3.94 Forest away win, 1.93 for a Brentford win. Personally, looking at that, I can't see much of a difference between the two teams. Like I mentioned earlier, Forest not great away from home, but they're still a very capable team. They could definitely hurt Brentford, who haven't been reliable, especially defensively. They've conceded way too many goals this season. They will always have an attacking threat, but at times this season it just seems games you'd expect them to win, especially at home, they just don't pull off a win. I think 1-1 here. I'm going to go for a 1-1. Looking at the 3.65 odds, I think that's good. I don't particularly favour either team. I think Brentford should win this game, but I think I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw between the two. Going on to the third game, we have Sheffield United versus West Ham United. And I think this one's a bit easier to call. West Ham are definitely better than Sheffield. I think we can clearly say, looking back at Forest versus Brentford as an example, there isn't a clear-cut winner in that game. Whereas here, even though West Ham are away from home, Sheffield we've seen too many times this season, their defence is almost non-existent. And they try and they put effort in, and it is tough. It's not like you go there, besides the Newcastle game, you go there and blow them away. I think City had a tough game at Sheffield already this season. Liverpool had a tough game at Sheffield earlier this season. West Ham, though, I think are just better than them. I know they don't have Kudus, who's at AFCON at the moment, but I still think players like Jared Bowen, Paqueta, if he's fit, they're just better than what Sheffield have. It is 3.35 for a Sheffield win, 3.35 for a draw, and 2.2 for West Ham win. It's interesting to me. I don't really understand it. Like I said, that the draw and the Sheffield win are the same odds. I think that's quite interesting. But I think 2.2 for West Ham win against Sheffield is very good. I think you're doubling your money for the better team going away and winning. I don't think it'll be a huge scoreline. Like I said, West Ham are missing Kudus, who is arguably their best attacker this season, besides Jared Bowen. They're missing Agurd as well, who's arguably their best centre-back. But I'm going to go for a 2-1 West Ham win. I think Jared Bowen is he's almost inevitable this season for West Ham. He scores all their goals. He does need a lot of opportunities. He's extremely clinical. On the counter-attack, he's really good. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 West Ham win for this game. Second last game of the season. I would say this is arguably the most exciting. This is Bournemouth versus Liverpool at Bournemouth. I think this is going to be a very difficult game for Liverpool. Bournemouth have been in incredible form for the past 6 or so weeks. They've found their rhythm. Dominic Solanke, former Liverpool striker, is hitting back of the net. He was Player of the Month, I think Premier League Player of the Month for December. They've gotten huge wins. 3-0 at Old Trafford was massive. Just their performances in general, they are extremely difficult to play against. They defensively can take a lot of pressure, and not even on their counter-attack, their attacking play in general has been really good. I think they're missing Antoine Semenyo, who's gone to AFCON as well for Ghana, and he is a big miss. He's been a great driving attacking player, getting the ball slightly deep and running at defenders. Because of that, I think their attack will be a bit, not blunted, but less effective. But I look at Liverpool's injury list at the moment. I know everyone has injuries, but no Trent, who is their main attacking provider. Clearly, when Trent doesn't play, Liverpool struggle. I think we saw against Fulham in the Carabao Cup when Liverpool, even when they create chances without Trent, they can still, I think they had 20 shots at goal against Fulham. But if you look at the quality of the shots, if you look at the areas they're creating from, I honestly couldn't even count the number of crosses into the box where no one was really in there, kind of aimlessly from both fullbacks. You know, Bradley wasn't really crossing as much, it was more overlapping, but still Gomez, or you look at, I don't know, just the way they create chances is completely different without Trent. They can't just release Darwin Núñez on the counter-attack like Trent can find him. They can't. No, Mo Salah as well is huge. Mo Salah, I'm not going to say he's more important than Trent. I think they both have an important role to play in the squad. But Salah scores all their goals and he assists a lot of them as well. If you look at the other attacking contributions just in the Premier League, I think Diogo Jota is the next highest, and I don't think he's got 10 yet. I think he's got around 7. Isn't bad, but Mo Salah's, I think, tied in the lead for the Golden Boot race. He's got almost 10 assists this season. That's 24 goals so far this season in 21 appearances. That is just gone. Not even counting their main creative player, Trent. So I think Liverpool, I still think they'll win. I think Szoboszlai, McAllister, Núñez, hopefully, Gakpo, Jota, Diaz. I think these players are good enough individually to do something. Going back to the Fulham game, Liverpool weren't the dominant team, but it was individual performances that won that game. Curtis Jones, one of the best performances he's had in a Liverpool shirt, got the breakthrough. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Liverpool win. The odds aren't great for this. Liverpool are comfortable favourites in the odds. They're 1.71 for a Liverpool win, 4.30 for a draw, and 4.30 for a Bournemouth win. If I'm honest, I wouldn't put money on that game. I don't think 171 is good enough to have Liverpool as a guaranteed winner. I can see this being one of those games. We've seen against Sheffield, we've seen against Luton, seen against United as well. Liverpool dominate the ball, but very little penetration, getting equaliser or, a late winner. 1.71 I don't feel comfortable with. 4.3 is good for Bournemouth, but like I said, it's difficult to back another team against Liverpool at this current point in time. They've only lost one game this season. Yeah, I'm going to go for a 2-1 Liverpool win on that, guys. But let me know what you guys think of that game. I think that could be an interesting one where Bournemouth have had good results. It'll be a difficult game. Going on to the final game of the weekend, we have, next week, Monday, we have Brighton versus Wolves at Brighton. This is, I think, another difficult one. Brighton are obviously favourites. But I have a feeling this season they're riding a lot on last season's performances. Their first 7 or 8 games this season, they were flying. But they've been really stop-starts since. They've won for a couple of weeks. They've lost for a couple of weeks. They've drawn games they should have won. They've lost games they should have won. Their performances have been there. They're averaging 70, 75% possession. They're creating chances. But something about Brighton this season is that they're not as clinical as they were. They will always be a threat in their style of play. But it's almost as if, I'm not going to say they've been found out because they do still create a lot of chances. But teams set up way more effectively against them now. I think teams are more aware of how pressing them high will completely undo you. That's exactly what they want. They want to sit at the back with the ball. They want Steele. They want Verbruggen. They want Lewis Dunk to put their studs on the ball and bring you out. But I think we've seen in multiple games this season, I can recall, I think, the West Ham game, teams are more than happy now to just sit back and wait. Come at us. We don't care if you have 80% possession because we know you're going to start panicking because you haven't scored with all the ball that you have, so we're going to hit you on the counter-attack. Or you might get a bit sloppy and try something a bit extra at the back with a risky pass, and then they'll go. I think Wolves are a good team this season as well. I think at the beginning we kind of wrote them off, but they've had some great performances. If looking at the odds here, for Brighton to have 1.65 odds for a win and for Wolves to have 4.90, I don't think the gap in between both teams is as big as that. Maybe there's some sort of other statistic that Brighton have beaten Wolves X amount of times. But I think Wolves are a very difficult team to play. They are aggressive. They defend really well. I mean, they don't give up. Going back to the Wolves' win against Spurs when Sarabia came on and basically won them the game. That was also when Spurs was still a very good team. I think they hadn't lost in the Premier League until that game. Or maybe they'd lost one. this Wolves team, you can't rule them out that easily. I'm not going to go for a Wolves win. I think that might be a bit much. But for odds of 4.2 for a draw, I think that could be quite a good bet. Because like I said, Brighton are vulnerable. They're obviously very good with the ball, but they're not the same Brighton we saw last season. They're nowhere near as consistent. They're nowhere near as dominant, and they're nowhere near as clinical. So I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. I think there will be goals in this game. Both teams like to score. And at 4.2 odds, I think that's a good bet. Like I said earlier, guys, I must mention again, I am new to this. But that's all the games for this weekend. That'll also be the last 5 games for Game Week 21. Next week we'll be back and we'll review this week and we'll talk about next week's games. Thanks for watching, guys, and good luck for your bets this weekend.